Understanding the book of Romans, chapter 4. Romans chapter 4 discusses the theme of justification by faith, using Abraham as a key example to illustrate that righteousness is credited to those who believe rather than those who rely on works. Romans chapter 4. So the key themes and concepts of Romans 4 are: point 1, justification by faith. So the chapter begins by addressing the question of how Abraham, the father of the Jewish nation, was justified. Paul argues that Abraham was declared righteous not by his works, but by his faith in God. This is highlighted in Romans 4, verses 2, where it states, Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him as righteousness. This establishes a principle that faith, rather than adherence to the law, is the basis for righteousness before God. Point number 2, grace as a gift. Paul contrasts the concept of grace with the idea of earning righteousness through works in Romans 4, verses 4 to 5. He explains that if righteousness were earned, it would not be a gift, but a debt owed. This reinforces the idea that salvation is a free gift from God, accessible through faith. Point number 3, inclusivity of salvation. So this chapter emphasizes that the promise of salvation through faith is not limited to the circumcised, which are the Jews, but extends to the uncircumcised, which are the Gentiles as well. Abraham is presented as a father of all who believe, regardless of their background, which underscores the universal nature of the gospel. Point number 4, the role of circumcision. Paul discusses the timing of Abraham's circumcision, noting that it occurred after he was declared righteous. This indicates that circumcision is a sign of the faith he had before the law was given, further emphasizing that righteousness comes through faith and not through the law. Point number 5, the power of God's promise. So Abraham's faith was characterized by hope against hope, as he believed in God's promise despite his old age and the barrenness of Sarah's womb. Romans 4, verses 20 to 21 states that he did not waver in unbelief, but was strengthened in faith, fully convinced that God would fulfill his promise. Point number 6, justification through Christ. The chapter concludes by connecting Abraham's faith to the faith of believers in Jesus Christ. Romans 4, verses 24 to 25 states that righteousness will be credited to those who believe in him, who raised Jesus from the dead, emphasizing that Christ's resurrection is central to the Christian faith and justification. Romans 4 serves as a foundational text for understanding the doctrine of justification by faith. It illustrates that righteousness is not based on human effort or adherence to the law, but is a gift from God received through faith. An example of Abraham highlights the importance of believing in God's promises, making this chapter a crucial part of Christian theology regarding salvation and grace. Through this chapter, Paul invites all believers, regardless of their background, to embrace the promise of righteousness through faith in Jesus Christ. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and give it a like. Hope you have a wonderful week. Cheers.